Momoko, as I keep saying, you can do better than that.
Oh my god!
Cold open for this one featured the Ojamajo planning their next visit to the daycare to see Hana. As a part of the occasion, they figured that they should bring a treat for their little daughter.
Or how about some treats from these aliens I know?
However, as usual, Pop tried to steal the spotlight by the end, and actually would kind of succeed in the episode proper. Though before we got there, the episode proper did open with the Ojamajo actually discussing that treat thing. Initially, they figured they could just spoil the little brat by giving her some pudding again, but then they brought up the little issue of her not being able to eat her carrots, and figured that carrot cake could help with that, which honestly, I'm not totally sure if that's the case. I mean, personally, it's one of my favorite cakes ever, but I'm not sure if just eating shreddings of the stuff will win over picky eaters, but whatever, it's delicious regardless. With that, it seemed like they had all of their plans together.
No, I'm pretty sure you can blame that more on the writers.
But yeah, Pop wanted to see her niece. However, a wrench would be thrown into their plans when Della arrived. She was there to deliver the itinerary for Pop's next witch exam, which turned out to overlap with Hana's visiting hours.
This is what happens when you don't call ahead and reschedule.
That said, she still wanted to contribute in some way to the visit, so she helped make the cake and was shown to be better at it than her sister. Yeah, I also thought we kind of grew past this gag long ago, but this whole episode is kind of a callback to season 1, so why not throw it in, I guess. But yeah, Pop was going to take her grade 3 exam, which would end up following the same structure as the other Ojamajo.
Oh, don't worry, you just saw a premonition of your granny falling down from a tower, totally unrelated to you. Good movie, by the way. Go check it out, even if you haven't seen the others.
Interestingly, after giving pretty much a clipless recap of their exam from all the way back in season 1, Momoko revealed how her initial grade 3 exam went. Yeah, as it turned out, like Doremi, she had to take the exam more than once, after failing at the finish line when she was tempted by food, in her case a strawberry tart. Also, I kind of like the subtle touch of Momoko looking a little younger in this flashback to match up with her timeline of getting into witching earlier than the rest of the cast, which might add to why she failed due to youthful ignorance and all that.
I mean, just imagine if there were a character who could almost instantly master stuff with little issue. That might get a little annoying after a while.
Anyway, as usual, they addressed Pop's inability to stay up, which after 3 seasons of the show, there really can't be any real solution at this point. Oh wait, she just needed to take a nap during the day, which I actually think I suggested in a previous review, but yeah, I guess that was kind of the solution all along. Kind of overwhelming after 3 seasons, really. Anyway, they went to the witch's world and split up, with Pop going to the exam and intending to rendezvous with the rest of the Ojamajo after finishing it. With that, Pop met with the Motas, who really are only here for the exam episodes, aren't they? She entered the course and first encountered the spooky town that gave Hazuki PTSD. However, for her, and probably most people, she just saw them as a bit of a creepy obstacle. And yet, there was a little more to them, as they were actually hungry spirits whose food source, a magical peach tree, wasn't giving anything to them. Thus, they were asking anyone who came into their world for help.
So, in hindsight, Hazuki was being incredibly insensitive to people far less fortunate than her who were just asking for a simple handout. Yeah, typical 1% behavior.
Anyway, Pop used one of her 2 limited spells for this exam to talk to the tree and learn what was wrong with it, which turned out to be a heavy boulder on one of its roots. Thus, she led the spirits into pushing it off in a nice little friendship moment that actually felt earned for her.
Yeah, as I've hinted out throughout this review, one of my biggest issues with Pop is that she does come off a bit Mary Sue-ish, especially when she masters skills like cooking and witchcraft almost instantly, and then gets glorified by everyone, except for Doremi, who's too busy being turned into everyone's butt monkey.
Here, she used mostly logic and empathy to solve the problem, rather than using some sort of specialty skill that she shouldn't even have yet. It was a good moment that even feels like something that Doremi would do, and really highlights how these two are indeed sisters.
All in all, this is just my favorite part of the episode, as not only was it a good callback, but also it is a good character moment for Pop, which means from here on out, things are going to go a little down.
Alright, to be fair, the rest of the episode wasn't bad, and there were some legit good parts, but everything else was just kind of meh. Case in point.
My sweet ompuchie.
Nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Yeah, even putting aside that this grown man is a fan of an elementary school kid, this gag has in general just really run its course. And yet, I guess someone on staff figured that they could still milk this gag for all it was worth. Meanwhile, the remainder of Pop's exam took an odd turn in the second area when one of the examiners was a witch who looked and sounded exactly like Kimitaka, and yes, it was the same VA using that same Naruto voice.
これから私が出す問いに答えなさい。一体何なんだってばよ!
There was no real reason why this likely centuries-old witch looked exactly like a prepubescent boy, other than just to give a bit of a contrived conflict with Pop, as while she was giving her a recreation of the test of the honest woodcutter, Pop laughed at her. And this was somehow enough to upset her and call off the exam, forcing Pop to chase her down to continue it. From there, this witch, who doesn't even really have a name, she's just called the Witch Kimitaka in the credits, almost ran into a canyon wall during the chase. Fortunately, Pop used her second and last spell for the exam to save her by way of something that doesn't often save lives. But yeah, she apologized for laughing, and the witch, impressed by her speed, let her pass into the final area.
That was pointless.
Fortunately, things did pick up in the third act, and even cleverly tied back to the stuff with Oyaji. In the final attempt of getting the nursery school teachers off his back, he gave a cow some hot chili peppers, hoping that it would distract them. And sure enough, it certainly caught their attention, but probably not in the ways he was expecting. Meanwhile, Pop was given the final choice, like the other Ojamajo, to complete the test, or to get what she most desired in the moment, which was to see her niece. Of course, she still had plenty of time to just finish the exam and then go see her, so the choice was kind of easy, until the cows came home and they weren't in the best of moods. Thus, in a really good moment of selflessness and sacrifice, Pop risked failing her exam to go warn the other Ojamajo about the literal mad cow. Moreover, she managed to distract it by becoming a matador, which I'm not sure if that would actually work on an untrained cow, but whatever, it made for a really fun and exciting climax. And while it was distracted, the Ojamajo cast a magical stage to calm it down. With that, the day was saved, but seemingly at the cost of Pop's exam, though fortunately, the door back to it was still open.
Shouldn't that count as cheating?
I mean, she basically got help from a complete third party, so it does make her passing her exam a little questionable, and it's not as though it was even totally necessary, as Pop only barely made it through the final door, so really, there was already enough urgency in the scene, but whatever, Pop passed, and even got a bonus rank up for doing extra credit by helping the hungry spirits. However, she was still left disappointed, as she wouldn't be able to spend time with Hana as visiting hours were over. Fortunately, the Ojamajo just brought her to her after getting permission to take Hana out temporarily. With that, the episode ended with Pop finally being able to spend time with her niece for all of like 2 seconds before her narcolepsy kicked back in.
This episode was really good, mostly for its first and third act.
Yeah, while the middle part wasn't necessarily bad, it was just kind of weird and pretty superfluous.
I mean, just the fact that I liked 2/3 of it means that I liked it overall, as they even did some really clever callbacks.
Considering that it was one of the more memorable exams from the first season, I guess it only made sense to revisit it with Pop. Granted, they did risk suffering from a case of
There's deja vu. There's language processing. There's deja vu.
Fortunately though, they did change it up enough to make it feel unique, and for the most part, it worked. Revisiting and recontextualizing Hazuki's PTSD was actually clever, and did provide a legit good challenge that actually felt earned for her. And of course, the climax with the mad cow was a lot of fun that highlights the main aspect that we come to the show for, aside from the feels and all that. All that said, the second door was just kind of weird with the witch Kimitaka, who as far as I can tell will never appear in the show again, and thus just kind of made for a needless conflict for Pop that wasn't fun or intriguing like the other challenges. put that alongside Oyaji's usual antics, and the second act of this episode just really didn't work out for me. And while I didn't really bring it up, there was also the stuff with Hana and the carrot cake, and yeah, that also just kind of felt like it was just there for the sake of it. Still, overall, this episode was just kind of held up by a strong first and third act, so I can just kind of overlook its weak middle part. While that witch looked like a bratty kid, I certainly won't have a cow over it.
Thanks for watching, and if you don't want to be like a bull in a china shop, well, our videos can probably help with that. I mean, if anything, they do tend to chill you out by relaxing you or boring you to all hell, whichever way works. Look forward to whatever comes next. Until then, though, for now, my friends, and really? Noble is gonna come in to run me over? Oh, he stopped by the Walmart first. Hey, nothing of value was lost.